Think about this. Every single day, millions of gamers across the African continent log on to play. And when they do, they're generating just massive amounts of incredibly valuable data. So where is it all going? The answer to that question? Well, it uncovers this hidden battle for the continent's entire digital future. So let's just ask the question right up front. Where is all this gaming data physically being stored? Who's in control of it? And, why should we even care? It's a real mystery, and the trail takes us from these old, dusty notebooks in a cafe in Nairobi all the way to high-tech servers on completely different continents. Okay, let's really get into this. On one hand, you've got these local gaming hubs, and they are literally writing down tournament entries by hand in a notebook. On the other hand, you have these massive global platforms like PUBG Mobile, and they are just hoovering up the tiniest little details, behavioral data from every single move in every single match. I mean, the difference in scale here is just staggering. And this quote right here from a cafe owner in Nairobi, man, it just hits the nail on the head. This cardboard box he's talking about, it's a goldmine of community data. It represents thousands and thousands of gaming sessions. But the problem is, it's analog. It's inaccessible, it's vulnerable, and at the exact same time, the digital version of that data is streaming in real time to servers thousands of miles away. All right, so where is this digital treasure trove actually headed? To figure that out, we've got to follow the trail. And that trail starts with the one piece of gear that's in pretty much every gamer's hands, their smartphone. Now, what's so fascinating here is the absolute dominance of just one company. Transsion Holdings, with its brands Tecno, Infinix, and itel, makes up a whopping 40% of the smartphones in Africa. And you gotta understand, these aren't just phones. They are literally the gatekeepers to the entire gaming experience for millions of people. And here's the direct result of that hardware dominance. The most popular games, by a mile, are PUBG Mobile and Free Fire. Now, why is that? Well, it's simple. They're built to run perfectly on the exact kind of affordable, lower-spec phones that most Africans own. A game like Fortnite, which needs a lot more power, it barely even makes a dent in the market. And look, this was no accident, not at all. It was a very clear, very deliberate strategy. You see, Chinese-backed platforms, they invested in local African servers to cut down on that frustrating lag. They integrated with local mobile money systems like M-Pesa to make payments easy, and they built their games for the phones people were actually using. Western platforms? For the most part, they just didn't. They looked at the low average revenue per user and decided it wasn't worth the investment. So what you end up with is this absolutely wild situation. The data from just one match, played by one person in Nairobi, doesn't just go to a single place. The real-time game data, that might ping a server in South Africa. The match summary could get sent to China, crash reports to the US, and ad tracking data could end up in Europe. It's this complex global web, all spun from a single game. Okay, so all this data flying around the globe, it might sound like just a technical detail, right? Wrong. It has very real and very high costs for the African gaming community. It actually creates what the researchers call a triple burden. First off, it absolutely cripples players with a huge competitive disadvantage. Second, it creates this massive economic drain, literally siphoning value and money right off the continent. And third, it raises some really serious questions about sovereignty, about who really owns and controls the behavioral data of millions of young Africans. Let's talk about this number. 150 to 300 milliseconds. That's the network delay or ping that African players have to deal with when they're connecting to servers in Europe or Asia. In competitive esports, where a single millisecond can mean winning or losing, this isn't just an inconvenience, it's a game killer. It makes a professional career on the global stage practically impossible. And the money? Wow, the economic cost is just as jaw-dropping. This is a conservative estimate of the value lost every single year in just 3 countries. We're talking Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa. This is money that's lost from sponsorships that can't happen, tournament opportunities players can't get to, and local game development that's being starved of crucial market data. So this all leads to a massive, game-changing idea at the heart of this research. What if we've been thinking about gaming all wrong? What if it's not just something for kids to do? What if it's actually a critical piece of national digital infrastructure? Now, to really get a grip on what's at stake here, we need to talk about a powerful concept: data colonialism. It's the idea that pulling all this behavioral data is a new kind of resource mining. It's just like the old colonial model, but instead of gold or diamonds, the raw material being extracted is, well, It's us. It's our human experience. The value is processed somewhere else, and the profits almost never make their way back to the source. So, you might be asking, why should a government care about esports as much as, say, a new highway? Well, for one, it's a huge talent pipeline for digital skills. It's also the perfect testbed for building up local data engineering capacity. It's a powerful economic multiplier that creates jobs. And let's be real, in today's world, whoever controls youth attention and their data holds real geopolitical influence. So, if the opportunity is this big, why have so many Western companies just stayed away? Well, it often boils down to a single cold, hard business metric, average revenue per user, or ARPU. Since African players, on average, spend less than their global counterparts, companies focused on short-term profits have historically just decided that investing in local servers and payment systems, it wasn't worth it. Okay, so we've laid out the problem. But just pointing out problems isn't enough, right? The good news is, this research also lays out a really clear, actionable roadmap for how African nations can start to take back control of their digital future in this space. And this is a really pragmatic way forward. Let's just walk through it. Step 1, reclassify gaming data as a strategic national asset. You treat it with the same importance as any other natural resource. Step 2, you implement smart data localization rules, requiring platforms to keep a copy of African data on African soil. Step 3, invest directly in the continent's own compute infrastructure, the servers and data centers needed to process all this information locally. Step 4, you help those grassroots gaming hubs standardize their own super valuable community data. And finally, Step 5, you create formal, clear pathways for talented gamers to move into high-demand tech careers. So we end up right back where we started, but now with a totally new perspective. This whole battle for Africa's gaming data, it's not really about high scores or virtual worlds. It's about economic opportunity, it's about digital rights, and it's about national sovereignty. And that leaves us with one final, really crucial question to think about. Is gaming just a game, or is it the blueprint for the continent's entire digital economy?